Hey everyone, welcome to another 90 Day Fiance chat. 90 Day Fiance is a reality show that follows couples. One's from the US, the other person's from another country. We see how they intermingle their lives from long distances to cultural barriers, language boundaries, and the whole legal ramifications of marrying someone from another country, getting that K1 visa. And are some people all about that? Or is it love involved? Or is it a little bit of both? It is 90 Day Fiance. All right. We are first going to get into Shekinah and Sarper. Now, Sarper has to leave his own house because Shekinah has a client over. And it looks so funny because he's like walking the streets, roaming around because he has to leave the house. He says, "Hey, I'm part-time homeless." And I think he's got a point there. He's allowed to so-called explore the neighborhood areas. And it's a wonder if he will be tempted by all of these women. We know Sarper's past. All the women in that area of LA area, of course, how those women are considered. And he says, they could show me their stuff and it doesn't matter. He'll just look and go. There's nothing special. Then he starts talking about a saying about a chicken and an egg. Which one was first? And how does that connect to anything he was just talking about? I don't know. So he sits on a park bench, FaceTimes his parents. I think he was at a local park and did some pull-ups before that. And then he's like, parents, this is what I'm going through. I didn't know this was going to be a living situation. The house is so small. And basically I have to leave because it's a work-live space. And there's women there that are going to be half-dressed because it's a spa type environment. And the women clients might be uncomfortable knowing he's there. Some of them will be half-dressed. So while he's out there FaceTiming his family and saying, she kicked me out so she can work, then, she kind of explains the reasoning, and that's the reasoning. And one of her clients is there, and the client tells her about a bad hookup she's had. And she's like, well, my clients, they tell me a lot of personal information as well. A lot of dishing, I guess, a lot of just gossiping on their own life. But Sarper basically claims that their house is so small, it's like a tiny house. The family said, he says to his family, don't rent my house out yet. I have 90 days to decide if I'm going to be in this situation because it's pretty uncomfortable. Then they talk about Sarper and getting into Shekinah's makeup. And she's like, well, he actually fixes himself up more than I do, or just about the same. But Sarper, he doesn't like her talking about how he gets into her makeup and tries to make himself look better. I was going to say pretty, but I don't know how he'll feel about this. So they meet with Shekinah's friends, and she texts them and says, hey, make a good she tells him to make a good impression. She tells them to, not be so hard on Sarper. And the friend Dan, which we know about from past 90-day iterations of the spinoffs that they've been on, he has a thing for Shekinah, we know. And he starts the whole issue. For the most part, the friends seem to be okay. She's like, Sarper's really real. He's here. I've been telling my friends about you and all of that. But Dan, he makes it be about him and calls it the Dan Show. And wants everything to be about, well, he will be a better man for Shekinah. And he just has a lot of issues with him. But it was funny because when they got there, he hugged him first, which I thought was weird. So I don't know what's up with this guy. Dan is French. And Sarper says, we have this European connection with each other. And I can tell he's giving off these vibes where he's trying to, give him backhanded compliments and all of this. And he's accusing Sarper of staying out of convenience. Asked him about the 90 days. And they talk about how they used to date and they so-called more than kiss, but they didn't say anything further of what they've done. Dan says he thinks he'll be a better guy, and Sarper wants to react to him, but he's like, I'm going to keep my cool and composure because I think he's trying to basically poke the bear and make me look bad, so I'm not going to let him have that. And he's just like, you know what? You're not really her type. She's into bad boys, but you try to look bad, but you're really a good boy. There are cat guys and dog guys, and I guess he was trying to say he's a cat guy. I don't know. I guess trying to say he's a fake tough guy. I feel like he's being very fake right now, and he just wants, I don't know what he wants, show attention or what. He wants to push Sharper's buttons, definitely. And, he's like, Sharper's like, I'm the type of man, I really care about her. I would die and kill for her. And he's like, well, do you still have feelings for Shekinah? He's like, well, no, that's my problem. He's like, no, if you do, then that's also my problem. He's saying like, well, you can't control my feelings and all of this. I don't know about this guy. I feel like he's just there to cause trouble, maybe to pad the storyline a little bit, to give it a little bit more meat, give them a little bit more issues during this 90-day process of whether they choose to marry or not. Guys, please excuse my voice and my phone alerts. Sarper calls the guy, he's a French baguette. I think it's kind of funny. And he's like, well, Dan's like, well, what's the proof of love here? And he's like, well, I'm here in her country with her and all of this. And Dan's like, I don't believe your BS. I don't believe in you. I think you're not real. So I'm out of here. Like, whatever, Dan. You could have been left. We didn't need the Dan show right now, but whatever. Mark and Mina. So Mina got into it with Mark's daughter, Jordan. Jordan doesn't trust her. She's also just jealous that her dad is starting over and having a whole new family while he has adult kids. And, she's just not going to be the center of attention. So I believe that's part of her issue. But they're going to go meet the rest of the family now. And Mina's like, I just don't want to talk anymore with Jordan. She's just giving me too many issues. And Mark's like, it's just too many problems. So he understands how he feels. So they're going to meet at his brother's house, which seems to be like a nice destination spot. They have to take a ferry to get over there. And a lot of the other family members are going to be there. When she sees Jordan again and they meet up to get on the ferry, it's kind of awkward. Jordan is kind of talking to her dad while Mina's like on the sidelines, listening and upset. She says hi to, she waves hi. Jordan waves hi to Mina, but, again, the awkwardness is there. Jordan says, she should try harder than me. She has the one that has something to prove. We don't know her. I don't think you should interrogate and treat somebody like that, even though they're from another country and all of this. What does she have to prove? She just had your dad's baby. You have a new baby sister. So, like, whatever the case, she's a part of your family, whether you like it or not. So basically, she said, my dad could step up and try to bring us together and try to squash this for us so that we could all be happy. But she said she's going to give her a chance and, try to make things work. So Jordan says, let's clear the air to her, and they try to get along. But, it's half patched together. It's half effort. And Mina does even questions, is it really real? But Jordan says, we're just going to take this day by day. So Jordan got off the ferry before they did. So Mina's afraid that they got there to the family first, so she can basically badmouth them before they even get to see the family. Then, Mark is kind of upset that Mina keeps calling his daughter a snake. So they address that. He's like, don't call her a snake. Some relatives that they talked to say that they really liked Mina. That the family got to Paris late, but she welcomed them, made them a nice meal and everything went pretty well. Uh, when they get to the house, to kind of talk about Mark's lifestyle, how she found expired food. I think he said even from 2017. What the heck? That is weird. And probably his clothes are expired as well, which his brother makes fun of him. There's an age difference there, we know. Um, some of the family members, like I said, only one set of family members was like, everything seems cool. I think that might be Mark's parents, but some other relatives, including his brother, said they didn't really feel welcome by her, and they felt like it was all about her. She was 3 or 4 hours late to the baby's christening, and that's been like the biggest issue with the family, that she didn't tell them. Her people knew, but they didn't know that she was going to be 3 or 4 hours late for this. And his brother is siding with Jordan as well. And when it comes to this situation, he also said, we booked refundable tickets to your wedding because we really don't know if this thing is going to work or not. That's really kind of bogus for your family to like not be on your side and gang up on you. Jordan brings up a prenup in front of the whole family, which I think was uncalled for as well. And Mark's like, well, we'll do that. Amina says, well, you think I'm going to take your money too? Does everybody just think I'm going to take his money? And it becomes like a whole issue in front of the family and a little argument there. And Mina claims that they never talked about it. He said that they did. And he's like, well, just for the age difference reasons, it's pretty common to get a prenup. And Mina's just pretty much upset, and she walks off and leaves. And again, she said this was not something that was brought up to her. And the family is like, well, why is she being upset and all that? And Mark says, basically, because this is something that's being talked about out in the open. She probably feels like everybody's ganged up on her. And Mina says, I could have basically just stayed in France if I had to go through all of this. I really love Mark, and all of this is what she's saying. But I think the family is totally against them, and they're ganging up on Mina. And honestly, there are situations and scenarios where you can't have your family in the mix. Again, she disinvited Jordan from the wedding. I don't know if that still stands at this point, but I feel like everything's moving a bit too fast. I think what he should have done first is acclimated her to his living situation. They should have had a little time together. Let's say even maybe like about a month. Then, that's not a whole lot of time, but that's a little bit of time for her to get a little bit more acclimated. They could have talked about some of these serious issues. Some of the family members are trying to start trouble. Can't say Mina's the perfect woman. Some of the things she's done doesn't sound great, but it doesn't really, I can't really say it's malicious. After they have their time together and he kind of gets to know her, they get to know each other better in this new environment. Okay, then maybe they could be comfortable enough to bring the family around and they could be on the same page about a lot of things. But she's just really getting to the country, and suddenly the whole family's kind of ambushing her. And it's a negative experience. And I do understand why some people separate themselves from their families, because when it comes to their spouses, their partners, they don't get along. And they could have decent partners, but the family is, again, can be some negative type of people, especially if you've been through a divorce. Let's say they liked your ex, all of that. I mean, there's red flag situations as far as her being from another country. That's the main thing. She had his baby. I don't know if that was supposed to be a part of the plan, but I can't fully blame her. They were both participants in that situation. This is just kind of a awkward situation, and one that needs to be further assessed. And the family just kind of, I think, needs to step back at this point and let them figure it out. And then things need to reconvene. But again, they only have 90 days to make this decision to be man and wife. So this is going to be a tricky one. All right, so Greg and Joanne, he's messy. She's not joking. He's laughing it off. She's like, why are you being such a so messy and this is not funny. He's like, well, I have one woman, my mom, nagging me. Now I have another woman that's nagging me. And they kind of have a little bicker, a little fight about his messiness and him being more serious. So we go outside, we see they got chickens. I mean, I think I mentioned this before that I need to buy some chickens as well. Um, while she's waiting for Greg to get done, I felt like he was playing a video game on his computer. I don't know what he was doing, honestly. The family FaceTimes her and she tells him the situation of him just not really having much money. I think the sister's saying he needs to get a job. And Joan is like, he just seems like he's not serious about working. She says she loves him, but he really needs to get a job. The situation is shameful, especially to talk and to tell her family about. This is, America, the land of opportunity, and she finds a person that's not trying to take the opportunities. And she's wondering how he's going to pay the dowry because that's what they do in her country if he's not financially stable. And she says it's really disrespectful for the family if he does not do this part. And he needs to man up. So he comes out later on and they start collecting the eggs from the chickens. They have 18 chickens. And they love and take care of their chickens very well. But Joan's like, I'd like to eat one of those chickens. So that's the thing. I'm like, Joan, come on. They're giving you eggs. Why do you have to eat the chicken? You can just go to the grocery store and get a chicken. Mom goes to work and she's like, I need you guys to water the garden. So they're like, see you later. So this is like their opportunity to kind of canoodle because they know mom's rules. Hey, you guys, I don't want you guys sleeping together. In my house, I think that's, and she does not want them to do that in her house, but she's going to be gone in a minute. She's going to do some rideshare work and do some deliveries. And he's like, thank the Lord I introduced my mom to this. I'm like, dude, why don't you do that? At least you would be doing some type of work. And it's really flexible too. Like, he could at least be doing something around that range because he's got his mom doing it. Like, I don't know if he has. I think he did say his car was down, but when there's a will, there's a way. When she's not doing it, he could borrow the car and do it. I mean, money can be made here. And he knows that he turned his mom onto this job that he could possibly be doing too. Anyway, he's saying things are going pretty good with him and Joan, better than he thought it would be, and she seems pretty happy. Actually, that's what the mom says. She says that her son is actually pretty happy and she feels good about it and good for them. So she's kind of happy about the scenario right now. But while the cat's away, the mouse will play, and those two is trying to rush inside the house. And she's like, well, why are you rushing? He's like, you know why. Let's do this. It's been an hour. They come back outside in their robes, which is so goofy to me. Why are you guys coming outside in the robe? He's like, well, she's like, we need to send her off more often so we can have this alone time. And then she's like, but really, we shouldn't have to do this. Duh. To me, I would not have given him no nookie. He doesn't deserve it. He needs to get a job first. Come on. To me, I didn't feel like, I know she loves him, but I feel like, in this situation, you need to get a job, sir. I'm not going to sneak around behind your mom's back, giving you some nookie when you can't even get a job so that we can kind of start our life together. You turned down a good, cushy job you could have had. And she ended up saying, basically, if you don't get a job, I'm going back. She's like, I see his friends are successful and all of this, and they're around the same age, so what's his problem? Why can't he be successful? There's got to be something up. And it's really him, and it's not really just America, but it's him. He jokes too much. He's joking, but she's giving him serious. She's giving serious face here. He's like, well, I'm not just sitting here doing nothing. I'm applied to multiple jobs. I made choices to keep this relationship. So if I got a regular 9 to 5, I wouldn't be able to see you. So I made some choices so that we could be together. Well, she's like, well, you're going to have to pay this dowry, and it's 15 cows. And he finds out in her money, it's like, in American money, it's like $200 a cow. He's like, what? That's like $3,000. How can I afford this? Why is this all on me? I have to pay for the wedding too. You know, why does it have to all be on me? So she's like, well, this is part of my culture and this is how it works. And it's also my father's last wish. And you have to do this according to the way my country standards are. He's like, well, I can't believe she's telling me she's just gonna leave, go back home if I don't get a job after we were just together upstairs, and now she's gonna hit me with this. And she's like, well, basically, if you're gonna keep giving me low effort on this situation, then I'm done. If I don't see any improvements, I'm done. So I don't know. I guess he's feel like, well, she just slept with me, so how's she gonna leave me? He's also like, she knew who I was and all of this, so now she's gonna choose to dump me over this. But did she know that she didn't have any money? It sounds like she didn't know. She didn't know you were $8,000 in debt. I don't know if she knew what your working experience was. Maybe if she thought you weren't working, she thought you at least had some money put away or something. But I think that he shouldn't expect all this nookie and all this good stuff when he doesn't have a job and he assumes that she's supposed to accept this. And I don't know if she gave him some just to tease him so he can feel like, oh, this is great, but maybe you'll never get this again if you don't get a job. I don't know what her point was in being with him, or maybe she just wanted to. But whatever the case, I don't see how he doesn't see the problem, and he doesn't see how he needs to step up. So I don't know what she needs to do to make that happen, but maybe she does need to withhold some things in the future. I'm just saying, maybe that'll keep him focused on what he really needs to do. I don't know what's going to happen between these two, but if they love each other, I hope they're able to figure it out, and that Greg is able to find some decent work. I mean, right now he could do that ride share right now. I mean, it's probably not going to be a lot of money, but it's going to be something to bring into the home. I'm not sure why he's not even doing that. All right, Sean and Aaliyah. Sean meets up with a friend with Aaliyah. They go play bingo, and it's like a drag. It's like a drag bingo where the narrator is like making funny quips and jokes, and they are dressed in drag. So after playing for a while, they go outside because it's really loud, and they start talking about Douglas, Aaliyah's old self. And Aaliyah's kind of upset that they keep referencing Douglas, and Sean talks about he really mourns the loss of Douglas. And basically, I think Aaliyah said, I don't like you using my dead name. And they don't like them talking about Douglas, but Aaliyah didn't really make it very apparent during the conversation. But afterwards kind of expressed that with expressed that with Sean. And, Aaliyah's like, I'm sorry, I'm getting the names mixed up. Sean is like, well, without Douglas, there would be no Aaliyah. First there had to be Douglas to be an Aaliyah. And if you want to discard the past so much, or do you want to discard me? I'm a part of the past, and I cared about Douglas, and I mourned for Douglas. So I was just thinking about, okay, I understand if you feel like you're not the person that, I understand the concept of it. I haven't experienced feeling like you're not the person that you're meant to be in a way, I guess. But I feel like that there were some good things about Douglas. And as a person, I feel like I wonder why people hate themselves so much. Maybe the way they were treated and the way people saw them. But you were still you, though, in the inside. And I don't feel like you should hate yourself, even if you transition and you hated who you were. Maybe there was some things, some flaws you had, but I don't feel like changing into another person changes me completely. Maybe it's changed the way people perceive me, maybe the way I perceive myself, but I'm still who I was at the core. And I don't think I'm a bad person. I didn't think it was me. I feel like it was more of a world issue to me. I feel like it was more the way people treated me, the way that they made me feel, the way that they didn't understand me, versus a me issue. But maybe I'm getting a little bit too deep into that. But it's like, why would you hate who you used to be? I don't understand the hate. And I've heard of people that transitioned and hated their old self. I'm just like, I don't understand that part of the scenario. And then, Sean does something kind of deep by saying he did mourn Douglas, but he feels good with Aaliyah. They might fight and get into arguments, but it's not hateful. They're able to work things out and fix their issues. And there's a loving side of Aaliyah and a calmness that they have and a connection, I guess, could be similar to Douglas. And he's saying it might be complicated, but he still wants to have a life with Aaliyah, even though he said he prefers men. He really no longer wants a someone that's feminine. And from what it looks like, Aaliyah needs to finish transitioning because that hasn't been done. So is that going to change the dynamic of their relationship? Because Sean does say that they want to be with the guy. So, but he's saying, without the bedroom part and all of that he still has feelings for Lee as a person. It says this is a person that I can't just let walk out of my life and pass by. This is an important relationship for me. So the love is there, even if there is no bedroom or something of that nature. But I feel like it's going to become an issue at some point, because it seems like Sean seems like he always has to have that element, or that's why he has an open relationship that they do have. So right now he's saying, though, it's more than just the physical part. It's about who this person is, and I want this person in my life. But yeah, how long is it going to be that? And are you going to change your mind? To me, it kind of defeats the purpose of, hey, I'm this lifestyle if I'm going to just accept somebody and don't care about their body or physical. But it defeats the purpose of being in that sexuality if you're going to be open to other sexualities as well. That's just my thought. Even though I think it's a nice sentiment, it sounds good, I feel like that's what people should do generally, but I don't know if it's going to work in this scenario. So, they show the book that Douglas and Sean had, that Douglas made for their life together. So Sean makes a book now with him and Aaliyah, and Aaliyah's so happy and feels accepted. And then I guess they have their romantic moment later that evening. So for them, I guess it's all's well that ends well at this moment in time. And we just see a little glimpse of Jessica and Juan. They didn't really have a lot going on. The boys kind of wake them up. And I guess it's around Christmas time while they're taping, because they give him a gift of matching pajamas, which is something that they say they do during the holidays. They're still kind of upset about the other day where they were arguing about him cheating and her almost emotionally cheating. But she's glad that they're able to separate that from the kids, because the kids don't need to feel that tension that they have between us. And he's like, well, why couldn't you have hotter pajamas? Like, you're the mom. I don't know how I feel about these matching pajamas, but your pajamas should be hot. She's like, well, I'm their mom. I can't just wear hot pajamas. It's like, there's a way you could have wore shorts or something like that. Whatever, dude. Maybe she could have some hot pajamas that she needs to show him at another time and place, separate from the family. Definitely not during Christmas with the family picture anyway. They still need to discuss their issues, so they walk the kids to their dad's house, which I'm like surprised that they are walking distance from the dad's house. And Juan's like, wow, this house looks like a mansion. She's like, yeah, mine's I have a small house over here. Yeah, well, I won't say that the dad needs to keep the kids full time, but it's a nice setup over there. I honestly feel like they probably like being with their mom better though. Part of the reason, this is just my thought, I really don't know. A part of the reason that Jessica did forgive Juan for cheating because she was having feelings outside the relationship as well, talking with her ex, really just trying to be helpful and befriending this person because they were going through a breakup and she wasn't really trying to get with them, but feelings were had, she said. But she lets him know, that happened, but I didn't do the same thing that you did. I didn't straight up cheat. And she's still worried that he's not going to get used to being in this normal life with her, even though he says he will. He gives her a kiss. They're walking the baby back home. But he doesn't fully realize the sacrifice he made from getting off of that boat life and the excitement and fun there, just living a regular, normal life. Things are going to be different. He kind of gave up a lot, so we'll see how things go. But they didn't really delve too much into these guys. So that's all, folks. Greg and Joan, Mina and Mark, Sarper, Shekinah. Those are the three that were kind of the most entertaining this time. We'll talk more 90 Day Fiance as well as other reality shows dealing with love. We talk faith, love, and trends right here on CBiz Media. This is Irene. Any thoughts, comments, questions? Email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com. Check us out on our other platforms by visiting our website at cbiztvmedia.com. Talk to you guys next time. All the best and God bless.